guys, here we go. As you can see, I have the negative battery terminal disconnected. I will be attempting to fix the starting error message. And man, that's like my heart is going, you know. I mean, I hope it's gonna reset itself. If it doesn't, I have a bunch of tricks up my sleeve that I could do to try to, at least to try to start it up and to try to see the very minimum that you could do in order to solve this issue. I'm afraid there can be a minimum thing, but let's try to solve this issue. So I have my tools here. I'm going to get a number 10 and I'm going to disconnect the battery cable. I'm going to attach it back. Okay, I decided to kind of also add another wire. I know I mentioned this before. I have added a negative wire and I attach it right here to the engine here. Sometimes when the starting error happens, proper voltage does not get to it, and it's really critical that the proper voltage goes to the system in order to start it. Since I haven't connected anything, I'm going to go ahead and remove this bolt right here. And I hope I got the right one for it. Yeah, it's a number 13. So I'm going to remove it and I'm going to install this to the firewall. And then I'm going to attach the battery. Okay, I got a negative cable. It is attached to the firewall, as you could see. Now it's time to attach the battery. Okay, my negative cable is attached. Now, this is the time of truth. Did the Sprinter reset itself, or am I still going to get that start error message? This is the first start. Nothing. Jeez, look, start error. Oh, how I hate this. That's not cool. So now, as I was telling you guys in the previous video, to the introduction to the start here, you see these turn signals here, this hazard light, and this piece right here. This could be a problem, along with the fuse panel that's underneath here. My first attempt is going to be actually replacing those pieces, and if it's gonna work or not, so we will see. So if you're dealing with the start error, the very first things you want to check is there's a number 7 fuse in here, somewhere over here. I believe it's maybe this 15. It controls the horn. Okay, so sometimes when it goes out, actually it basically causes that solenoid to go out as well, and you cannot start it. And also you need to check number 16 and 17 on that side, and you'll need to check these fuses here as well. Some of these here, and make sure, you know, all of those are working, just as a preventive type of thing. You know, if any of those don't work, then you could have a problem as well. But man, it could be like many different things, so this is going to be interesting, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be really helpful for you guys. If somebody's dealing with this, I understand you're going through a headache like I am right now, but after this video, the only one that went through the headache would be me, and you guys have the complete information because I'm pretty informative on my videos. I'll tell you guys exactly what I did and, you know, what you could do. So here we go. The first trick I would like to attempt is, it's something I read on forums. Some people say it helped, some people says nothing. Okay, so some people said, you know, put the key in starting position and then remove the positive battery terminal, and then basically wait about 30 seconds, put your key back into the, you know, normal position, turn it back, and then reattach your positive battery terminal, and then it's supposed to start. So let's see if that's going to fix it. Let's reattach the positive terminal. I'm gonna try 2 tricks. So I'm going to try turning it like this. It's weird, it's acting kind of like dead right now. Interesting. So possibly it's not tight enough. It's kind of interesting. I tried to tighten it up pretty good, and there's no start. So possibly, could it be that my problem is lying somewhere with this thing? But this is attached pretty good, I would say. I mean, how much more can you really do, you know, do this here. So like now it's kind of just like flickering, you know, like it's acting almost like a dead battery. Well, it just says start error right now. Okay, so another trick was to tap on your speedometer. Somewhere in this little location is where it's located, to kind of wake things up a little bit. So nothing, we're still having a start error. I know this guys must be kind of funny, but I think at this point some of us are willing to try a lot of different things. So let's honk the horn. Sometimes maybe it gets this thing going like that. So I'm going to try to exclude all this funny stuff first. Now what I'm going to try to attempt to do, I'm going to leave the key in start position. I'm going to remove the positive battery cable, and then I'm going to reattach it being just like it is. We'll see if that does anything. Up next is this again. So the key is in start position. It's not all the way, but it's basically as far as you could, you know, put it back there without anybody having to hold it. So it's right before you actually get to start it, right where actually it reads if your key is the actual key that it's supposed to be with, you know. So I got it on here, and I know by like reattaching we should probably get some sparks. Most likely once I put that other unit back on there, I'm gonna get some sparks. I always use the back of my tool to kind of like tap it in a little bit. Guys, if you ever tighten these things up, don't try to hit your key up against this thing here because it will spark. I have done that a long time ago. So we have a little bit of sparks here, not too much. I really don't see how this could help, but you know, anything could happen. I will double check all the fuses. I'm going to check using my special fuse box checker light thingy. See if they light up, or maybe sometimes they blink. If they end up blinking, then sometimes, you know, that could be the issue. So I'm just gonna knock on it a little bit and see if it's attached properly. Okay, now it's still reading start error in that position. Still start error. Now some of them say, you know, open and shut your door a couple times. And now this is just from all the comments that I'm reading. So some of them, they look funny, but you know, they work. Maybe superstitiously, maybe not. So we're doing that again. So still starting codes. All right, so I'm going to start checking the fuses. Okay, I got my handy little dandy thing here to check all the fuses. My key's not turned. Most likely it needs to be turned to the on position, but you know, let me see here. Yep, that's not working, so I'm gonna turn it. It's like weird, it's like they're not even letting up. Like, what's up with that? Is this thing any good? It's like not even lighting it up. That's not cool. Oh, that's weird. Not lighting it up here either. Huh. I mean, I don't think this thing could fail, but I'm gonna turn off the video and try some things. What is interesting, this thing might be like defective because with the key being on and being off, it does not display any sort of lights. I know some people said, you know, they had some fuses that was kind of like this little light was intermitting, you know, so they went ahead and just replaced the fuse. I believe I have another one of these. I will go check, because I know it's certainly a lot easier to check with this, because you could tell by pulling a fuse out if it's bad or not, but What if it's just slightly like malfunctioning, you know, like dirty connectors or something? I'm gonna go look for one. Well, guys, I have 2 of these things, and I gotta say, none of them are working. It's either they are not reliable or there's just something wrong with my fuse panel. Just kind of strange. I don't know. So maybe something wrong with this fuse panel. Who knows? I just don't see how, you know. I mean, if there would be something wrong with it, I don't think the radio would work either. After all, here's the under dash thing here. Let me see here if we have, if I could actually, yeah, radio. See, 10A. So maybe those things that check your fuses, they're not very reliable. You know, I have never seen it to where they don't work. They used to work for me before, but both of them are not working, and I don't know. So I'm going to physically pull each fuse out. I'm just gonna take a look at them, stick them back in there. So the questionable fuse is number 7. This controls the horn, and this controls the other relay. The horn does not work. I actually, when I put it in starting position, when I try to press the horn does not work. So I have checked all these fuses in a row, and this fuse was not burned out, but since it's in question, I'm going to install it, and nothing. We'll pull it out, pull it in. I'm gonna try to maybe tap on it a little bit, an ignition thing, and tap on a little ring that's behind the. Okay, so that's not happening. So let's check around. Checked all the fuses to the left. I have replaced the number 7 fuse, that's this number 15. I just replaced the questionable fuse number 16 and 17. Number 16 is a 25 and then the 17 is a 15. Let me see if that made a difference. Nope, nothing. So I'm gonna check the rest of them, and then I'm gonna check the relay, the actual fuse box. All the fuses have been checked. 3 have been replaced even though they were fine. And once again, starting error. So time to go check the fuses underneath the seat here. Okay, before I proceed further, you see this little box here? You could kind of see through here. This box controls all your power door locks, in case somebody know that or they don't know that. Sometimes these printers, they don't come with one. So this one did came with one. So basically I just disconnected it. Let's see if that has anything to do with the starting problem. Nope, it's still the same thing. I have checked all the top fuses. They're all fine. So next fuses are up is this one, this one, this one. Well, these are relays. I believe this is a starting relay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull off the spare ones from my other printer. I'm gonna throw those things on there and see if that solves the problem. Okay, this fuse number 30 and number 40 was replaced. I replaced these 2 here from another van. I know it was trying to start at least, so it didn't have that issue. It's weird. It had this extra fuse in here. Take a good look at my box. I'm gonna take the other ones back. Well, I'm just gonna take this one back. There's no place for this one here. Kind of strange. Looks like they have another fitting here that fits that fuse. I wonder if mine fell off, maybe somewhere at the bottom or something, but you know, anyways, I don't have that one. At least I don't see it, but looks like it kind of attaches to the top there, so it maybe fell off. But who knows, it might be part of another system that mine doesn't have. Here's where we're at. I have replaced all those fuses. I left them laying over here. Question is, will it start? Nope, it's dead. The reason I went through all these fuses is to know for myself, and I'm pretty sure most of us, including myself, this is what you would tackle first. You would want to know about your fuses. Are they good, you know, or are they bad? Because, I mean, who wants to know a bad message, you know, or bad news that their printer is gonna need something more expensive? I highly think this is the Immobilizer unit that actually went bad. And for me to get this van back running again, I'm going to have to either I mean, if you don't have a spare, you would have to actually get another key from the dealer. You'll have to buy a whole new Immobilizer unit, also known as Skreem unit, on the forums. So if you see Skreem, that's what it means. It's kind of like WSP or something. I can't remember the exact abbreviations. But most likely you need to pick that thing up between $100 and $200. Key programming about $200, and then installation, you know, and whatever, like all the labor and stuff, it's probably gonna be like around like 600 bucks to actually do that. But question is, I think for most of you guys, if I do that, will it solve the issue? Because, you know, $600 is reasonable. I mean, it's better than replacing the whole computer. In my case, I have a spare sprinter, and I'm just gonna try to replace the whole ignition system here. Definitely, that means I'm gonna have a different key. I'm going to install that mobilizer, and I'm going to install the computer that's back here for that van. I'm also gonna install a brand new computer for the bottom of the seat, so that the you know, keyless entry would work with the key and everything. The only thing is, for the doors, I will not be able to use that door lock, so that key I will not be able to use. I'll have to use my old one, but at least I have a spare sprinter that I could try that if all else fails. But I'm still kind of thinking, you know, is it the fuse panel? Is it the actual power, you know, like this switch system here? So this is next. This is what I'm gonna actually remove next. And I'm really hoping it's one of those things, because, you know, they're less expensive. You don't have to program them. Sometimes this churn signal things fails. I think it's about like $100 to $200 for one of these things. It will cause your van not to start. I actually had this issue the very first time I replaced it, and the only reason I was replacing because this hazard light would not work. The plastic piece has broken off, and some dirt or something got inside, or maybe just a switch broke, and it would cause that hazard light to jam up and not work. So I installed a different one with everything like perfect on it, and my van would not start at all. The lights would just flicker on the dash. And now, you know, then I actually had to remove it, and I installed a different one. This is from a parts printer. Everything started working then just fine. The only thing is high beams. If you press the high beams on, they would not work, but they would work if you pull it. But a lot of times you have to replace this hazard light switch. You'll either have a problem with the wipers, or you're gonna have a problem you turning left or right, and it causes your headlights to go out, which is kind of annoying, especially at night. So if you guys ever have that issue with the lights going off, that's another little tip. You can just replace the hazard light switch here. I recommend just get a new one. If you have a used one, put it on there, but buying a used one I would not recommend. You just don't know what you're buying. So anyways, I'm going to try to replace the fuse panel next. I think it's the next logical thing to try to replace. For removing the actual fuse panel, you'll need to disconnect your negative battery cable, and that's actually what I'm gonna get ready to do right now. The negative cable is disconnected. It's time to proceed. I started getting ready to disconnect this whole thing, but what I have found in my door here, I had 3 more keys from other sprinters. All of these keys are obviously chipped. I'm not saying it caused the interference. It could happen. It could actually cause an interference with your Immobilizer, because it's kind of like it doesn't need like a battery source in your key, but if it's going to pick up another signal, maybe from another key, or some other like radio waves that's maybe on the same frequency, then it could like malfunction. So what I'm gonna try to do, reconnect the battery cable again and try to see if it's going to start then, because I have removed those keys from here. The key has been reconnected. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but start error. Start error. So sometimes you flicker your door on and off. So I'm going to pull it in, pull it out, put it forward, back. Oh yeah, let's try another thing. Just by twisting it many times, I'm gonna pull it out again just to see if it will come on. I heard this is a good stress relief from the comments. They say you could just keep turning, and sometimes it will cause the event to start. So let's see if this will happen. I know one thing is when my starter was clicking, I would turn it, it goes click, I would turn it, it goes click, I would turn it, it goes click. It basically did start, maybe like on about 12th try. So sometimes if you have the starting issue where it's not starting, but you hear a little click, this could be your issue. As you could tell, I'm doing it so fast that the starting error cannot even come on. But it does come on if I leave it there just for a second. So alright, so that settles it. Nothing's coming on. I think I did it enough. Probably overdid it a little bit, but I want to make sure too that all of these things are, you know, checked out. So I'm gonna get back to removing the battery cable. Battery cable's removed. Let's proceed. Guys, I'm inside of my Sprinter that's for parts, and I'm on the hunt for the Immobilizer. I've heard somewhere where the dash is, so I'm taking this one apart anyways. So it's a good time for me to actually check all these things, because I have everything already kind of like removed. So this is what I'm going to be replacing. I'm going to be replacing this ignition switch here, and I'm kind of seeing how it's connected. I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to remove, because it's got some of this stuff that I haven't dealt with. Like, I'm not sure what that is, that little piece. Let me take a closer look. It looks like it's being attached by those two bolts, so possibly I just disconnect those two bolts and it will release this portion of it, because I'll need to get the locking mechanism. It looks like it's being held by this bolt here, another one there, which is weird. It's not the same kind, so possibly it's been tampered with. We have the ignition switch right here. It's electronic portion, and the other one that I'm using now, it's actually a brand new ignition switch. So looks like it's not a huge repair, so once I actually end up removing this, which looks like it's just being held on by two bolts, and then it looks like this little piece here, it runs right here. This here is part of the antenna. This plastic piece that goes around, there's an antenna inside, so sometimes they could break. It's unlikely, but they could break and not recognize the key, so this would be the key that I would have to be using next. And I just disattach it right here. So anyways, to remove the speedometer, you have a couple bolts right here. This one already been removed. I'm not the one that removed them, but you just pop it off like this, and then there's going to be this little switch right here. Just pull it out. There's no special tabs or nothing. You could just pull on it, and then there's going to be this little piece right here. Just pull that out, and kind of broken. It needs to be replaced anyways. Just in case, you know, I like to kind of touch base on these things since I'm already removing it. A lot of you guys might know what this is, and some of you might not. Some of you might think this is adjusting the brightness of your like speedometer dash, but this actually adjusts the height of your lights. And believe it or not, these are 2004, 5, and 6, possibly 2002 or 3. They have this little switch here, so you could make them higher or lower, and that's actually what that little symbol means. But of course this one is to heat your rear windshield. I actually don't have that mechanism, so possibly that 20 amp fuse that I've seen earlier probably controls maybe that system. My Sprinter does not have the heated windows in the back. I do have windows, but they're not heated, so maybe this one had just a little bit more options. So next, for the speedometer, you'll need to disconnect both of these little bolts, now that they're exposed. This little one and this one, they're more like screws. But basically, this little screwdriver, it's original. If you're lucky, you still have that in your kit. Basically, it will be in the kit in your floor. You open it up in a little bag over there, along with your tools for jacking up your vehicle. You should have this little screwdriver. It's actually should have a Phillips head and a flat head, and this comes with it. You basically stick them out. You got a little end here and a bigger one that goes inside the handle. It's kind of a handy little tool. I kind of like it. I don't want to lose mine. So I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect these things and remove the speedometer. Believe it or not, I'm doing this for the first time. I haven't never removed the speedometer. There was just no need for me to. So now this is loose, so you could just set that to the side. And what are we looking for? Oh look, the speedometer just, I think it just lifts out right here. Yep, you just lift it out. I believe we're looking for this mobilizer here. I believe that is it. This is why this is sometimes tap on it and looks like it would work. I did do some research. It seems like this is what it looks like. So there's some connectors here. Sometimes people test them. I'm not too big on testing this stuff out. You see here, it's what is being held on by. Okay, yeah, it is that piece. So I'm gonna stop the camera and pull this little plug out, and then it's supposed to just looks like just come out of there like that. There's no bolt there. It's kind of strange. So yeah, you just pull this little fob up. Yeah, and you just pull it out like that. Yeah, there you go. This is what the Immobilizer looks like. I know I pulled some online pictures of it yesterday because I had no clue what this thing looks like. This is called the Skreem. I guess, yeah, you would scream if your van doesn't start, because you gotta make money and then it doesn't start. Same thing for me. I was planning to leave this week, and now this happens. I'm glad I'm home, because at least I have some parts to throw at it, you know, and help you guys in the process. But here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to try to just go ahead and I will try to replace this mobilizer. I'm going to remove this ignition switch, and I'm going to remove the computer from here. And once I actually remove these things, I just don't want to have to keep going back and forth and having to adjust all those things. I'll go ahead and throw a new fuse panel on there. Next time I'll get to test the fuse panel on this van, because I need to actually replace the turn signal thing on there, because the lights actually go out once you start turning. So I'll be able to check the actual flash on that van, and in the meantime I'm just gonna stick my old one back, and I'm gonna stick my old fuse box in there because it used to work. I just pulled it out because I had a starting issue and I replaced with that one. But the starting issue was with the actual starter, so that was solved. And of course you always want to make sure that this is plugged all the way in. I had an issue where I didn't plug this all the way in, and it looked like it was, but this actually needs to snap. It's got a little tab here, it needs to actually snap, and some of these other ones, they don't snap. So, or maybe they do, I just don't hear the little snap. But anyways, this was in there, but it was not in there hard, so every time I hit a bump, it's just like bump, bump, and it caused my lights to flicker on the dash. It looked like I just started the van. It was kind of confusing where it was coming from. You would think anything from a loose wire somewhere, negative wire maybe something under the seat, you know, it's just always something confusing. But anyways, I'm gonna pull this little mobilizer out. This seems a lot easier than I thought. I'm kind of glad that it is. But looks like everything else, like the steering wheel, it seems like difficult, and I've done this already like 3 times, and I'm still thinking, wow, I have to take all that stuff apart. But I guess it's not too bad, you know. I'll go ahead and remove it and go from there. You see this little tab here? To pull it out, you'll need to press this little tab. I know it's common sense, but I do want to mention it because some of the stuff, no tab, like this for instance, and some of it has a tab. I just don't want you guys to try to do it and then you cannot remove it. So, but yeah, look how easy it is to replace the speedometer. This is interesting. If I put a speedometer in my van, it would be almost consistent. This I think has about like 440,000. My van started counting over, it's at 48,000 now, 48,000 miles. I think almost like 49,000 after a million. But anyways, not going to be doing that. I just don't need to. Okay, so I'm gonna disconnect this unit. I'm gonna go ahead and try to remove this unit, then I'll have to remove the computer, those things could be annoying because those computers are kind of difficult to install back in there. It's just very tiny space to install. I've removed one, so I know not easy. Very first I decided thing to remove is this little box here, and it snaps in there with these little clips at the bottom and top. I know it kind of makes sense to just pull on them, but I just pulled on the sides of this thing and it just came out, you know, without breaking it or nothing. The computer is located underneath here. I pulled it out just, you know, for the visual type of stuff. There's probably really no need to pull this piece out, but if you do pull it out, it makes a nice little holder there in your door or you could just put it back. So computer's back there, and it kind of has this like little pins that needs to go in exactly, and I'm gonna try to go ahead and remove it. I'll tell you guys how I did it. Like I said, it's not easy to remove, but the way it's actually in there, it's kind of like snug in there. You'll have to kind of like rock it back and forth and remove it, put two hands, and you do have to put some power into it. I'm going to try to see if I could remove these electrical outlets. This will give it a little bit more room once I pull it out, but I'm wondering if it will pull out with those things in there. That's what I'm gonna try to do. Well, the computer's pulled out. Looks like you could leave those things on there until you pull it out, and then to disconnect them, I believe you have to pull those little knobs, and then electric outlets will come out. Here's a little demonstration. Pull on this little knob, you hear this little tap, and then I think it should come out. I think maybe too much for one hand. After all, they've been on there forever. Yeah, see, as I pull on it, it actually causes it to be loose. So possibly I need to pull on this some more, and that would come loose. I need to kind of... No, it's not easy to do it with one hand. So I'll have to stop the camera. This very last piece, it did not want to come out, but once I shove it back in there, and then I put it out again, it was able to come out just fine. So this is it here, and this computer, as you can see how there's some scratches here on the sides. It is going inside of those like metal pins there, so it becomes a tight fit, and it goes in just like this. You might think you have to flip it over to put it in, but you actually put it in just like that, and plug all the wires back in there, because you will not be able to pull these wires out with the computer being in there, or install them for that matter. So you'll need to actually install the wires first and then put it back. But what I'm doing is I'm thinking, if I replace the computer, if I replace the electronic switch, if I replace the immobilizer, I will have all the pieces I need in order for me to start my van. And then what I'm going to try to do is, underneath the seat here, we have electronic door lock control over here. So I'll pull this out, because this is programmed for this specific key, so it will, my key will not work obviously, so I could actually use the door locks and stuff and unlocking it. So I believe that's what I gotta do. But I don't think I'll have to replace the computer module for the transmission. Now, if I do have that problem, I have one, so I could actually replace it if I do need it. I already have removed this unit, so I think that's all the electronics besides the actual unit for the cruise control. I believe there's another one somewhere under the dash with a bunch of wiring that you would have to remove in order to replace it, but I'm not sure. I've heard of this rumor that there's a piece, maybe it's that little piece that probably controls multiple things. Who knows, because from here I do not see anything else that you need to remove. Looks like I got the computer, and I'll just have to remove this ignition switch, and I think that will be it. Okay, I do want to kind of talk about next about go ahead and removing some of these parts that have to do with the starting error that happens in the dash, and of course the shifter would not be shifting, and kind of like, watch what happens. Look, as I'm shifting, you see that little top lever that's being moved? This is the only piece that's back there. There's really nothing else back here. You could just put your hand there. There's only that piece. So if your shifter ever breaks, you could just remove it from here, and on that shifter there's just like a little, like a dog bone type of thing. I believe that just snaps out and you could just, you know, use this little shifter here. It's an electronic shifter, so who knows, they probably fail. I haven't had mine fail on me yet, except, you know, yesterday would not shift, so I don't know, you know. And for somebody that's maybe new, if you haven't seen it, you put the screwdriver in here to unlock it. You could actually put your key in here, it actually would work. Screwdriver, it's a little bit easier to aim for it. So once you actually press it, yeah, once you press it, I'm gonna press it down, and then see, I could move the shifter. But without it, I cannot actually do anything. So anyways, that's that. Time to remove this little piece here. I'm going to start off by removing those two little bolts right there, and then I'm gonna remove those two. But before I do anything, I'm going to disconnect this little wire here. I'm gonna try to do it with both hands, I don't want to break anything. Okay, I have disconnected this little wire. Back to this piece here. Looks like you're just gonna be working with a couple Phillips heads here. And then those. Like, I don't know how easy it's going to be to actually remove this here from the shaft, because it's so close to the dashboard. But maybe with some small tools I'll probably be able to manage. Maybe something that kind of like a little addition that kind of aligns the stuff. So anyways, I'm going to start removing it. This is what I'm going to use to remove it. They look like removing pretty easy. They're not really solid on there. Okay, I do have some good news. First of all, this piece already kind of rotates without me even having to do anything with that. Now, let's see which one I want to show you. Yeah, this is the one that I just disconnected from it. As you can see, this is what it looks like on the inside. This is some kind of gear, and most likely this is the gear that basically unlatches your transmission module. Don't quote me on it, but it is a little gear, so it possibly spins something and then causes something to work or not work, because it is part of the ignition system. I mean, it would make sense once you put it in there, it goes, you know, because besides that, you have this electronic portion here, and then, you know, of course, the starting portion, and besides that, that's it, you know. So this little mechanical gear probably does something. You know, looks like it spins it, but the way it actually goes in there, it almost seems like, I mean, how could anything spin? And it just goes on there so simple. It almost seems like there's really nothing that spins there. There's just nothing there, you know? I don't see anything like that would actually rotate it. It's a strange little piece. It almost like it sends a signal to it and then it starts rotating. Weird. But possibly when you churn it, something else actually goes in that place and then it rotates it. And for you to actually rotate it, you'll actually have to churn a key to the ignition. But I'm kind of wondering, could it be tricked somehow? Could you actually remove that piece and maybe manually put some kind of roller on there that you could actually spin it with, and then tricking the computer into allowing you to actually start the vehicle? Who knows? It might be something. So anyways, another piece I wanted to talk about is here's part of the electronic system. That one's still connected. Now the antenna portion, this is the antenna portion, I have disconnected it, so now I'll have to disconnect this little piece, and it's being connected by this little thing here. It unlatches, so now both of them are disconnected. So what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna put an Allen wrench on there, and I'm gonna try to just lightly undo this, and then I'm going to pull it out. So it's a good thing that I won't have to really get it out of there, you know. And I think before pulling out that other one, I need to either scratch the surface of this here with the screwdriver to kind of help me understand like how far I need to go, you know, like once I actually install this in my van, because if you're gonna attach it a little bit too low or too high, it might not actually go in the steering column. And then also it needs to be tilted the right way, which could be tricky unless there's something, maybe like a little cutaway or something that it goes into, which I think it should. I mean, they gotta be smarter than that. Maybe one portion thicker than the other. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and put an Allen wrench in there and remove it. To do this, what I have done, I went ahead and scratched the surface over here with the screwdriver, and I also scratched the surface over here, you know, to make sure that this will align properly. And this is not on there very hard, so I just twisted it just lightly. It looks like I could already pull it up, but I'm gonna try to do this off camera, because it might be a trick to it. It might be something getting stuck, so it's gonna be difficult to pull it out. Just lightly pulling out it, I realized without me pulling out at least one of the bolts, it's not going to come out. And actually they were smart enough, okay? So if I hold the thing together, this is how far it only moves, okay? It just stays on there. But actually once you loosen it up a little bit, it gives you enough wiggle room, and you'll have to twist it this way so that this bolt could come out. So you twist it and then you cause it to slide out. And then our ignition portion is out with everything. So this is the little piece that sort of like locks in there right there. So it looks like the square piece just goes in there. And then I could also see a couple things. It looks like we have a sort of like a deadbolt type of lock. This deadbolt would go in here and causing the steering wheel to lock up. This is why it goes a little lock, would lock it up. It's not locked up right now. I'm going to try to twist the key and see if it's going to come out. I twist the key forward and back. I heard some clicks, but it kind of stayed back. Good thing, you know, it's not locked in, because who knows, it could cause me some trouble. But I want to kind of further inspect it. This is where that other piece was going with the little wheel here. I'm really not sure how that really works, because I just don't see what would really rotate, unless it's that blue thing right there. It maybe rotates. Maybe that has some kind of a mechanism that actually rotates the rest of it. But anyways, looks like I have all the pieces to fix my starting error. I have the ignition piece. I have basically that module right there. That's a Skreem module. I have that. I have the computer, and now I'll just have to pull it off my van and go ahead and replace it. I just wanted to kind of point some things out. To remove all these items, this is the most tool that I've used. It's right in your kit. You don't really need like really special tools to use it. And if you're lucky enough, you'll also have the Phillips head, which would work. I have one, but I decided to use this one here, which is a Phillips head. And of course I use this to, you know, it's number 10. I removed the battery cable. And that's pretty much it, man. I was able to disassemble my whole dashboard with just that. So now it's time for me to actually disassemble my all these plastics here and go ahead and start removing the steering wheel and all this other good stuff. But I'm kind of wondering, I mean, I guess it's I don't want to really have to do it, you know, but I'm wondering if I would plug that Skreem module, you know, behind my speedometer, would it work? I think a very good educated guess, no. This is why I'm not even going to try it, because it needs to be programmed specifically for your key. And this is why if you're going to buy one used, it's not going to work, because you'll need it to be programmed for your specific key, for your VIN and everything. So unless you get the whole kit right here, like I just pulled out of my van, then you're gonna be out of luck. Correct me if I'm wrong. If somebody have replaced just that unit from a spare van and it works for you, please let me know, because logically I just don't see how it would, you know, because all these things, they talk to each other. This is why I disconnected the computer, because I'm thinking, okay, this here, a key sends a signal to this ring here, and there's an antenna inside, there's an antenna inside of here. You know, it sends the information for the key to allow to unlock the shifter right there, and then it sends a quick little single signal to this little unit saying, hey, okay, it's the right key, let's unlock these things. And then, you know, it sends a signal to the computer saying, hey, you know, let's go ahead and turn on. This is why I'm actually replacing all of these 4. Maybe you could just get away with these 2. But usually I would only say you could get away with those 2 if these things are specifically for your vehicle, for your VIN. If you just replacing this and you got a brand new one from the dealer, they're gonna reprogram it. They're gonna reprogram you a new key. They might say, you know, let's go ahead and replace this little thing here because maybe there's a bad antenna in there. And I'm pretty sure only the dealer could replace that because possibly it needs to be programmed. Who knows? But only maybe then. But that's just my speculation. I'm usually pretty good at making educated guesses. This is why I'm actually doing this stuff. But like, I'm really hoping this is gonna work because this is just something I came up with last night. I'm thinking, you know, if none of this stuff would work, like disconnecting battery, what am I gonna do next? And this is what I decided to do next. So what I'm going to do, since I didn't do this earlier, I'm going to pull out my fuse panel box, and I'm going to pull out my you know, the actual hazard light, and I'm gonna install all these things on there. And I'm gonna put all the fuse box back. I'm gonna put original churn signals back. I'm not gonna put my other stuff, you know, even though I have it. If my VIN will start, that's going to rule out the possibility of the fuse panel being bad and the possibility of the churn signal thing going bad. Because I'm kind of thinking there's nothing wrong with those things, but who knows, you know, it could be it. And then if that's it, then I'll end up having to do it again by replacing the actual fuse panel and replace the actual hazard light switch assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and start removing the plastics. I'm not going to try to make a video about how to remove this. I already have a video on this subject here. You could find one of my videos. I actually have 2 videos. One of them just music. That was just a test video that I was doing for the different music, and you know, it was not really good, but I ended up keeping it. Maybe somebody don't want to hear me talk, so they could just listen to music and look what needs to be replaced. That could also work. But basically there's already video for that, you know, and I just made a whole video how to, you know, remove the speedometer and everything else, and that's gonna go on as a separate video. That way you guys don't have to watch a very long video, but it's still going to be helpful to watch that video how to remove all these dash pieces, just so you could know how to remove it, and so you could do it yourself without breaking it. And also, why would you need to remove it? Because I have this really nice DVD player for here, and if I install it over here, it kind of like attaches, and basically will cause it to be sticking out all the way out. So what I was thinking about doing is customizing one of these pieces, like maybe like cutting it off somewhere and attaching that piece over there, like leaving me like a lot of room, and then maybe like using some kind of fiberglass and something, and just completely like redo it. Once I'm going to do that project, I'm definitely going to share with you guys, and then I could just sort of like have a built-in, you know, navigation in the dash, which is going to be a lot cooler looking. So you know, then this little radio, even though it's a pretty nice little radio that I have over here over the CD player Pioneer. But anyways, that's it for now. I am going to make a second video or put it in this video if I did get it started. Now, if I cannot get it started today, because the day is going by kind of quick, even though on the video it seems like it's not, but all the stuff is kind of taking, you know, some time, I guess. But I did kind of start late in the day, I think about 4 o'clock. So I hope I could get the van started and put everything in this video, and then you guys can have all the information right there. But if I don't, I'm gonna have some kind of video that says that this problem's fixed, and you could just watch that, and I will touch base on all those other things that I have done to actually get it to work for sure. Guys, look at this. To my surprise, look what they have done here. They got some kind of bolts that I cannot actually remove. You know, looks like the dealer, they'll do anything to get the job, you know? Look at this. It's like there's nothing in the back to remove them. You know, it just looks like you know, they want to make it as impossible as possible for you to like not be able to remove it. I may have to drill this thing out. I'm just thinking, wow, I mean, what length will the dealer go just to get your money? I mean, it's like this anti-theft system, it's a joke. I really don't think, I mean, it's like, this is weird. They'll do something like this so we cannot actually remove it. It's a 2006 model, and the other one I'm removing stuff is a 2005. 4, 5, and 6 is exactly the same thing. But to my surprise, this piece is not. That's crazy. Now this little piece I'll be able to remove, but not that other one. There is a way to trick it though. It's by just not even using the steering column. It's just to mount everything up separately, but then of course you'll have a messed up looking sprinter. Is by leaving this piece, attaching this wire, attaching the ignition stuff, you know, and see if it's gonna start like that by attaching everything. But there's just really not enough room to work with. Wow, this is crazy. I am definitely not happy about it. Of course, I kind of know what to expect. Here are two of them compared side by side. They look exactly the same, except for the fact that those are using really weird type of lug nuts on them. I just wonder how easy it's going to be to maintain it out. I mean, I wish I could have, you know, made all this in one video, because I just disassembled all this and thought, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it on there and test it out. But man, I just can't believe this. It looks like I'll go ahead and pull the computer out, go ahead and pull the speedometer out, those pieces, get those pieces ready, and I'll just have to worry about that tomorrow. I'm gonna have to charge up my drills, make sure they're ready to go, and I'm gonna drill this sucker out. Because once I actually could get this bolt here, I believe that it's, you know, I'll have enough leeway, because I didn't have to remove this other bolt on that other piece. So I could just remove it and go ahead and start attaching a new piece. Hey guys, this concludes my video. I have removed all the pieces necessary. I have removed my dash. I have removed the actual Skreem module. That's removed. I have removed my computer. I removed all these things here. Unfortunately, I'm not able to actually remove this piece at this time. I'll need to drill this out tomorrow. Possibly just need to drill out the center portion, and it might just come popping out. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. I really appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. Most likely I'm gonna drill it out. I have some good drill bits and some good drills. I should be able to drill it out no problem and install everything. I could have done all this today. I don't know what time it is right now. It might be like 6 or 7. But it only took me about maybe like 2 hours, 3 maybe, for everything, to try to remove these parts from another sprinter and remove the dash. I mean, I've done a lot of unnecessary things, but there were fun things to do, and, you know, to show you guys exactly what it takes to actually you know, remove some of the stuff, because some of the stuff looks very confusing. But of course, to replace these pieces, you don't have to remove too much. You just have to remove all these plastics here. You'll have to remove your fuses here. You'll have to remove the turn signal stuff and the steering wheel and all this other fun little stuff there that's on the floor. That comes like with these other things, like this little piece. It needs to attach in there properly. Usually very hard to put on. As you could see in one of my other videos when I was doing it for the first time. You know, I wasn't sure, but there's, you know, you don't have to remove this this stuff here, you know, in the steering wheel column, to remove your hazard lights, because if you remove that, you could like mess some stuff up. Anyway, yeah, all I have to do is just pop this open, and then I could have a steering wheel from a, you know, 2005, all those things, and they ought to work. You know, I don't see why it wouldn't, you know. But yeah, other than that, all this is done. I really was hoping to put everything together and just have, you know, good news and everything started right up and things like that. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. I do hope you guys resolve your issue like this, because it's a very annoying issue. I want you guys to try to fix it at the very minimum cost as possible. I'm pretty sure that's important because it's enough already with these printers. Once they break, it costs you arm and a legs to get them fixed. And I want you guys to be able to do it yourself and save money. And you know, I like to not use used parts, but in this case I don't have to really buy them, so I have them lying around, so I could just pull them off other printers and stuff. But I'm really hoping I could resolve this issue. You know, if I can't, then that's gonna suck, but I'm pretty sure I can. My wife has really good faith in me. She tells me I could fix anything. Sometimes I doubt myself, because I had some headaches, and some of those videos that I've showed you guys how to do stuff, for me to learn that stuff, I went through some headaches because you just don't know what the heck is going on, and just to find out anything, it really takes a lot of research. So to get it in a 20-30 minute video in an hour, I mean, that really, you know, beats me trying to do research. Because last night, and I'm telling you, I spent about 6 hours on research just to get this video out to you guys, and of course to fix my own problem. So I didn't find anything about doing it the way I'm doing it. The only stuff I found that made any sense is actually replacing the Skreem module and making an extra key and having them reprogram it for you. And then of course you're still not sure, is this unit any good? You know, you're really not sure. So most likely maybe like an antenna failed on this, then it's still not going to read, and then you're going to be in for some more money, and then I might try to replace your fuse panel, you know, which is going to cost you some more money. And all of these things could cost you extra money, you know. My advice is, you know, start with the cheapest, work your way up, and I think most of you guys are already doing that. So, but if you can't afford to like keep buying cheapest, then maybe just take it to the dealer, have them diagnose it. I mean, especially for this, I just don't know. I'm sure a lot of you guys would just rule it out like no problem. But you know, let's see. I mean, I possibly could like drill like a little hole here, and I could like use these like this special kit to remove stock screws and bolts. I could probably, you know, make it like big enough, then jam it in there, then try to spin it out. Because from what I could tell on that other one, I was able to undo this bolt really easily. So most likely I'll be able to do that little attachment and do it like that. Anyways, I will give it a try. If that doesn't work, I'll just drill out that whole the actual bolt assembly, you know, and then possibly drill that other portion out, and then it's going to have a bolt instead of this little thing. But I'm not sure if they are putting these things on all the vans, or you know, they just did it on this one, because it was kind of confusing to me, because the last one I pulled out, this bolt and this bolt did not match, and usually that tells me somebody has tampered with it, you know, and it's probably a good thing because it cost me less headache to try to remove it. But anyways guys, good night, or good morning, good evening, whatever, you know. Most of you guys probably watch this at night anyways. But anyways, good luck to you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Bye bye.